opinions expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of Salem Communications, staff, management, or advertisers. Activist Radio is on the air. You have tuned into the Mark Harrington Show, sponsored by Created Equal. Mark is training a new generation of leaders to take on the culture of death and win.
All right!
If you don't like abortion, don't have one.
The only thing that can be said to be objective truth is that there is no objective truth.
It does come out in one piece. It comes out in one piece.
I would argue that we certainly are not all created equal.
And now, here's Mark.
EITs. EITs. Do you know what an EIT is? Do you? An EIT. It's the acronym for Enhanced Interrogation Techniques, which we've been hearing about because our Democrat friends have brought it to the attention of the American people. And what I find very interesting about this whole debate over enhanced interrogation techniques, which they consider torture, what's really interesting about this is that the same people that would say it's immoral to use waterboarding or hooding or sleep deprivation or food deprivation or any of those kinds of things, EITs, enhanced interrogation techniques, the same Democrats, the same liberals that will get on their soapbox, pound the podium about how immoral America is because we would dare to use these techniques to get information from killers, terrorists, are the same ones who think it's completely permissible and support the dismemberment, decapitation, and disemboweling of preborn Americans. Isn't it interesting? This faux outrage that, isn't it horrible what America does? But then we give them a pass when it comes to the butchers that are slaughtering our children every day in abortion mills across America, and it's legal to do it. So don't give me this, Democrats. Don't give me this outrage. When you become outraged about baby killing, I'll start listening to you. But until then, sorry. I'm turning the TV set off. I'm not listening to your stuff. This babble. And that's what it is. So anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest as we get into the program today. And we've been seeing these national protests over what happened in Ferguson, Missouri, and in New York City. And, it came to mind. I go, well, where are the national protests on baby killing? That to me, is a real outrage, not this stuff. We're going to talk about that today, and my guest is Father Stephen Imbarrato, and he runs Protest ABQ, and he's out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And Stephen is the founder of Protest ABQ. He's also runs the organization Defending Life. Stephen, thanks for being on the Mark Harrington Show.
My pleasure, Mark. Good to talk to you again.
So, Stephen, I set it up here, and I want you to talk about this. I met Father Imbarrato last, November, when Albuquerque put on a ballot initiative, a citizen initiative, to ban late-term abortion at 20 weeks. And I went down there and helped with the effort twice. Unfortunately, got arrested out front of a polling center, which, thank goodness for Father Imbarrato, helped get me out of jail and so forth. But that's how we struck up this conversation, this relationship. And since that time, Father Imbarrato has been calling for national protests and a national strike. Father Imbarrato, if you would, just fill us in on what you're thinking here as far as that goes.
Well, real quickly, the background, that I've been thinking about this for a long time. There's two successful models that we have in the civil rights movement the last 20, 30, 40 years. And that is the Martin Luther King model of protest in Main Street, the marketplace, the civic square, and peaceful protests, but protests that basically present to America adamantly the demands of civil rights, of course, in his case, for black Americans. And then you had the solidarity movement in Poland, Lech Walesa, Father Jerzy Popoluski, who used a national strike to get the communists to leave their country. And these have always profoundly struck me as two models that we need to use in the pro-life movement to finally bring preborn baby killing to an end. And I really think that we in the pro-life movement need to start using the word protest. Protest. It's almost anathema for us to use the word protest. We're called protesters even if we're just merely praying in front of an abortion mill.
Right.
I think we should embrace that word and say everything that we're doing that is related to the sanctity of life, we're also doing in protest of preborn baby killing. I think you see in January we're going to have all these rallies, all these marches for life. Well, fine, we are touting the sanctity of life, but I think we also need to at the same time be adamant, like you're doing with Created Equal, survivors, all of us, I think, are protesting preborn baby killing, but we're not using that word in everything that we do. We are protesting preborn baby killing to start getting that idea out to the people of the United States that we are going to protest this until it's over. And then, of course, culminating in a national strike, which I would like to see happen on January 22nd and January 23rd, Thursday and Friday in this coming January, where people, just plain and simple, don't go to work, don't go to school, and do protest of some kind, whether it be going to the March for Life or doing a local protest, something. It could be praying in front of the abortion mill, but whatever they do those days, they do it in protest of preborn baby killing. And then, of course, to not do any unnecessary spending. Unnecessary spending. I know there's a lot of activities those 2 days that are pro-life related. There's been many questions about, well, what about if we're on our way down to the March for Life? Well, fine. You know, there's necessary spending and there's unnecessary spending.
Yeah, well, let's get into those. Let's get into those, Father. My guest is Father Imbarrato. He's from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and the website's protestabq.com. If you're intrigued by this idea of a national protest and national strike, you can go to the website. You can be part of this. We're going to be involved at whatever level we can. We're going to be in Washington, D.C., and we'll be part of this. Father, if you would, obviously there's a great tradition of protests and strike. We saw that with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the Solidarity Movement. And I don't want to get off onto a rabbit trail, but just in the last month or two, when we've seen this, and I don't want to get into the right and wrong of this whole thing in Ferguson and New York City, but the power of protest. We've seen it on the streets, haven't we?
Absolutely. And, and if you go back to the Occupy movement, where you had a bunch of young people or people with no just cause at all, and you see the amount of press that they get. And then, of course, the March for Life, we complain that 500,000 people come to Washington, D.C., and we get no press, or San Francisco, or all the other rallies that we have. Well, why? Why isn't the March for Life called the largest protest of preborn baby killing in the United States? Why isn't it called the protest?
Yeah,
we are protesting preborn baby killing, aren't we?
Absolutely. Do you run the risk of people saying, "Oh, this is just a copycat effort," and or we've done this, been there, done that?
Well, no, I don't. First of all, I don't care about any risk. I don't care about failing.
Right.
I think that there's a mindset of we're afraid to fail in the pro-life movement. And I think we got to get past that, all right? That people won't come on board unless they see it's something potentially successful. Well, nonsense. The only way I fail in the pro-life movement and in the protest preborn baby killing movement is if I don't do what someone's calling me to do.
Yeah, if you don't do it. Father, if you could give my listeners what are you asking folks to do, and where can they get information?
Well, I'd like them to go to protestabq.com or go to our Facebook page and check out the video of what we're doing. There's a slideshow calling all protesters to give you an idea of what we do, and that everything that we do in protest. Even if I have a meeting, there's a Students for Life rally on the 23rd, I believe, a conference that they're having in Maryland, and Kristen Hawkins, of course, who we love dearly, is concerned about this national strike affecting her. Well, no, you're spending the day, the 23rd, that day of national strike, protesting preborn baby killing by having a conference and training and doing what you are called to do to end preborn baby killing.
So is there a place on the website, Father, where they can sign up and say, in the city of XYZ, we're going to be doing this? If they go to the website?
We are not at that point.
Okay.
There's contact information where they can get in touch with us, and I will gladly consult them in terms of what they can do.
And what are we planning for Washington, per se? I don't know if you're able to disclose that or not, but what are you looking for in Washington, D.C.? And I guess the final question is, will there be arrests? Are you going to is this a civil disobedience type of thing?
Whatever the Holy Spirit calls people to do. When we started Protest ABQ last January, a year ago, we really thought that we were probably going to have to engage in civil disobedience and possible arrest to get publicity, to get some attention, and we found out that we have not had to do that.
Right.
And we're not to the point where anyone's gotten arrested, but surely we've gotten a lot of publicity. We've gotten the attention of the governor, who we've been protesting.
Right.
The University of New Mexico, we've been protesting. And we're gaining a lot of attention. So people need to do what the Holy Spirit calls them to do in a peaceful, moral way. Now, we know in our tradition, civil disobedience against unjust laws, immoral laws, are okay. And so, as long as there's no violence, there's nothing immoral, and people need to do what they're called to do. As far as what's planned in Washington, D.C., I have nothing planned in Washington, D.C. I'm spending 3 days of protesting in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where the legislature and the governor and all the powers that be will be there on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, and we'll be there protesting, and I'm pushing for a strike in this area. I think that whatever happens this year, we need to continue the discussion about having a national strike to end preborn baby killing.
My guest has been Father Stephen Imbarrato. He is the director of protestabq.com. Folks, the National Strike and Protest, January 22 to 23. We'll be in Washington, D.C. participating in this. We're going to be setting up our Jumbotron television at K Street at Farragut Square as part of the national protest and national strike. Father Embarrato, thanks for being on the Mark Harrington Show. And folks, if you want to find out more, go to protestabq.com, and you can find out more about the national protest and national strike. We'll be right back. Stick around.
What do other pro-life leaders think of Mark Harrington and Created Equal? Listen to Lila Rose of Live Action.
Just wanted to say that I stand 100% with the efforts of Created Equal, with getting the truth visually out to students on campuses and inspiring them and equipping them to have that debate with fellow students, to encourage them to really question their support for abortion and encourage them ultimately to see the humanity of the unborn child, the violence of abortion, and ultimately to join our side, which is the winning side, the side of life.
Mark Harrington is a missionary and free speech advocate, and Mark has been on the front line of the debate over abortion for over 20 years. Mark needs your prayers and financial support. Please support Mark and Created Equal by going to createdequal.net or send a check to Created Equal, Post Office Box 360502, Columbus, Ohio 43230. Your gifts are tax deductible.
Yeah, there we go. The Motor City Madmen, Ted Nugent, one of my favorite rockers. You're listening to the Mark Harrington Show as we end up 2014 with I think one of the better years we've had in the defending the preborn. And we just got done talking to Father Stephen Embarrato at Protest ABQ, and that he's the founder. He's also runs a group called Defending Life, Project Defending Life, and talking about this national protest and national strike, and I am totally on board with this. Now, I know what most people are going to think when they look at this, and they're going to say, well, you know, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Well, I have two comments to that. If it doesn't work, so what? What are we out? What have we lost? It is time that America pays a price for baby killing. Until we make this personal, until it affects their lifestyle or their pocketbook or the things that we, take for granted in this country, until abortion, a baby killing, until preborn murder takes a price, a cost, if it costs something, nothing is going to change. Nothing. And the thing that we fight against in America is apathy. Not enough people care about this. So if they're not going to care about their neighbor, which Jesus told us to care about and be a good neighbor, if they're not going to care for their neighbor, then they're going to have to care for themselves. And maybe we can make this personal enough that they will care about it because it's affecting them. And so there's a great history of national protests and national strike, and Father Imbarrato did a great job disclosing those and talking about them, the solidarity movement, the civil rights movement. And we've just seen that recently with these racial protests and so forth against racism all across America. People have come out into the streets and protested, and look, it captured the attention of millions of Americans and really forced a dialogue for many weeks and now more than a month. So we're in support of that. It's going to be January 22 and 23, and we'll be in Washington, D.C. as part of that. So keep praying for us. What I want to do is take a minute and kind of wrap up the year as we head into 2015. I want to share with our listeners here to the Mark Harrington Show, your voice of resistance, some of the things that we've accomplished this year. I don't usually go through these types of things. I just talk about them as they come about. But I want to kind of go down the list of things that we've done this year and hope and pray and ask that you will support us financially. We need you. If you can't come out on the street, you can't come out on a college campus or a high school campus, I understand. But you can give your money. You can give support. You can pray for us. We need you. Write a check today to Created Equal and send it to P.O. Box 360502. That's 360502, Columbus, Ohio 43236. If you would. And any checks that are dated prior to January 31st will count on your taxes for 2014. So please help us out. Again, Created Equal, P.O. Box 360502, Columbus, Ohio 43236. In 2014, our organization conducted 114 unique outreach events. That included, but does not limited to, 17 high school outreaches, 21 college campuses we visited, 39 urban outreaches. And what I mean by that is just on the public square or on the sidewalk, like downtown Columbus. We conducted 5 Jumbotron TV events, and that is where we set up the Jumbo TV in high-traffic areas, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, Cincinnati, Tampa, and we recently did it at Philadelphia's Independence Mall. Giant TV playing video of abortion. We are on the cutting edge of technology when it comes to forcing a debate on baby killing. And the Jumbotron TV, we're going to be ramping it up big time in 2015. We did 11 Operation Overpass events. If you live in the Columbus area and you drive, you've probably seen us. We go to the walk bridges on 161 and 315 in morning commutes, and we get all kinds. 20,000 commuters drive underneath us at when we do these Operation Overpass events. We employ our Truth Truck, which is a billboard truck displaying aborted baby photos, and we've been to Washington, D.C., and we did all the Ohio State football home games this year. And one of the bigger things this year was the Killers Among Us project, where we set aside the killing father and son killing team of Milroy and Mervyn Samuel, who have been, at least the father, has been killing babies in this city for 35 years. And we said, we're going to take ownership over our city. We're going to bring some pressure to bear on these men. And so what we did is we made postcards juxtaposing an image of abortion next to the image of one of the doctors, and we went into their neighborhoods and we flyered their neighborhoods, raising awareness on a killer among us in their own communities. We also did that around their abortion mills and went to the hospitals where they had privileges, admitting privileges. And that resulted in them quitting. They quit. They no longer kill babies in our city. 2 fewer abortionists in our city because of what we did. We trained 34. We had 34 training events equaling 4,564 students. That's 3 times as many as we had in 2014. Other highlights. We had over 1 million views on YouTube of our Created Equal films, which in my opinion are some of the best apologetic tools in the pro-life movement. And you can go to our website at createdequal.net to check them out. And of course, we launched the Mark Harrington Show, which is the radio program you're listening to today, and that's been going on since April. We've done 35 unique programs, and we're going to continue to do this and hopefully continue to build the audience here at WRFD and online. And so we did that as well. And then, of course, my trespass charges in Albuquerque were dismissed. That was a big deal. And just talking to Father Imbarrato, he was with us there in Albuquerque last year in 2013 and bailed me out of jail. So that was a big thing this year. That's basically what we accomplished this year. Now, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm going to do it. There are a few organizations that are as active as we are. We are an activist organization, but we're also a training program, and that is that we are looking for young people. The young people that want to make a difference, want to stand for something bigger than themselves. They're looking for a cause and want to join a movement of other young people. And that's what we're about. These 114 outreach events, they're all youth-related. They're all youth on the streets. This is not your parents' pro-life movement anymore. And my goal is to raise up the next generation of leaders to take on the culture of death and win. And so that's our mission. And we do this with justice rides that we're going to be, we've been doing for several years and we'll be doing twice this year, where we set aside a week. This spring, we'll be doing it in spring break. If you're a college student or a high school student, you get spring break off, give us a call. We're heading down to Florida. We're going to be doing several college campuses. We put them all in a chartered bus. We call it the Justice Ride. We pattern them off the freedom rides of the 1960s. And we train young people how to defend the preborn in the bus and in the classroom and then take them on to a college campus and put them in a place where they have to defend their faith and share the gospel as well with people that are on the other side of this issue. And we see the fruit. So, folks, please help us. It's been a good year, but we still need your support. We got some big projects next year. We're heading to the March for Life on January 22nd. We'll be going to the Justice Ride in March, and we need funding for our Jumbotron TV projects as well. So write a check today to Created Equal, P.O. Box 360502, Columbus, Ohio 43236. That's 360502, Columbus, Ohio 43236. Or go to our website at createdequal.net to give electronically. God bless you. God bless America. And remember, America, to bless God and Merry Christmas.
You've been listening to Mark Harrington, your radio activist, sponsored by Created Equal. For more information on how to become a witness against the evil plague in America, call Created Equal at 614-269-7808, 614-269-7808, or go online to createdequal.net, createdequal.net. Be sure to tune to The Mark Harrington Show next time for your marching orders in the culture war.